For some of us, that's an easy question to answer. As a child, I dreamed about that answer for weeks, sometimes months. And if I asked for something earlier in the year, the response was always put it on your Christmas list. Well, some years by Christmas, I had an impressive list, and I usually received something from that list. Now, for others of us, what we want for Christmas is not so easily answered. Either we have just about everything we want, or what we want is hard for someone to give us. I heard a news report recently about the letters to Santa that the post office is receiving this year. Children are asking that their parents stay well. Now that's a little harder to wrap up and put under the tree. And I think we'd all be satisfied if this virus would just disappear. Might even make this the best Christmas yet. Well, there's another wish list that I found in the Bible. Maybe you've heard it. It's a list that the prophet Isaiah provided. He says, "For to us a son is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace." Now that's an impressive list. Prince of Peace. What if that was what we're waiting for this year? You know, I heard a story recently of a dad who stopped to pick up his children from their childcare program. He was in a hurry. His week had not gone well. His work was stressful. He was not sleeping well, not eating well, not exercising at all, and aware of all of the added stress that this COVID virus is placing on families. Well, then someone cut him off in traffic, and he responded with a few choice words and a hand gesture, forgetting that his children were in the back seat until he heard one of them ask, "Daddy, what's wrong?" In this season of peace on earth, goodwill to all, we need a Prince of Peace. Our world needs a Prince of Peace. When the prophet Isaiah provided that list, his pronouncement was mostly ignored. You see, when life is going well, we're not looking for a Prince of Peace. We don't need that. Life is good. And when life is not going well, the people living at the time of Isaiah were focused more on who to blame for their lives not going well. We fight against the darkness. I mean, who expects or even waits for a Prince of Peace? But what if that is exactly what God is ready to give this Christmas? You read Christians say God became flesh and walked among us to show us the way of peace. And except for a small band of followers in his lifetime, he was mostly ignored. They wanted peace, but were they ready to receive it? To do what was necessary to live it? Are we? Do you remember that final scene from the movie It's a Wonderful Life, when everyone gathers around the Christmas tree? You know, a bell rings and we know that Clarence, George Bailey's guardian angel, just got his wings. And in that moment, George Bailey looks around and realizes he's the luckiest man in the world because he has never been alone. And I watch the movie every year to be reminded that just like George Bailey, I am never alone. See, God could do far more in my life than I even ask or imagine if I'm ready, if I'm willing to receive what God can give. You know, several years ago, our family was in New York City for the Thanksgiving Day parade. And the weather was near perfect, and there were an estimated 3 million people lining the street, making it tough for us to find a place to watch the parade. Well, we finally ended up in the staging area, which turned out to be ideal. We were able to watch the process involved in getting the enormous balloons into position. The balloons have always been my favorite part of that parade. On television, the balloons look large, but not nearly as large as they are in person. Just one balloon required 60 people to hold the ropes and guide the balloon along the parade route filled with obstacles. Now, some years there have been tragic endings when a sudden gust of wind sent a balloon into a traffic light or a utility pole. The wind is something balloon handlers cannot control. So they learn to work together and keep their eye on the captain. And the captain keeps an eye on the center line, blowing a whistle whenever the handlers wander from the path. The whistle is calling the handlers to work together and keep their eye on the captain. Folks, it's just a few days until Christmas. I think it's time to listen for the whistle. God can do something truly amazing in your life. Are you ready? Are you willing to keep your eye on the captain? Isaiah called him the Prince of Peace. Others would call him Jesus. That's what I want for Christmas this year. I'm Steve Richards, one of the pastors at Messiah Church, and I hope you have a blessed week. Take care.